Before the panel comes on board, and because I'm Kenyan, and because sometimes I'm just shameless, two things. We all need to learn how to give our elevator pitches. Keep them short, keep them simple, be very concise. Talk about your business, what you do, where you can be found, and why I need the product. Yeah? And we all make that mistake where we're put on the spot. You have 1 minute to get this customer on board, and then we start, and we're like, and yeah. Myself, I'm guilty of it. So it's not to call out anybody. It's just to bring to attention that it's a skill we all need to perfect. And as business people, sometimes all you have is just that 1 minute to get your business out there. And because I'm shameless, so Wamboy and I are crafting a business together, yet to be registered, currently riding under the brand Sauce and Mayo Inc. And what we do is we come as a tag team for moderating of events, whether it's a workshop, whether it's a conference, whether it's a festival, whether it's a company retreat. So we come as a pair. You don't get one without the other. She says she's the sauce, so well, you have sauce, you gotta have mayo. So for all of you looking out to have events coming up between now and in future, please look me up, look out Wamboy, you can speak to us after the event. If you like what you see, you can find us. And with that, Wamboy, Christine, and Olivia, please join us to the front. We had talked about your questions, right? We're getting into the Q&A. You've listened to the experts, you've had them speak their craft. And what stood out to me was a lot of the pictures we had, all your landing pages are on social media. And Olivia was very keen on mentioning that you must have your home base. Your website must be your home base. Because if all the social media platforms dies, where is your institutional history? It's all gone with somebody else's platform. So for those of us who still don't have websites, I hope that was a big learning, because I listened to a lot of us talk about Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, very few websites. So I'm hoping that's a learning we've all taken. And we all have our questions ready? We all have our questions ready? We all have our questions ready? Yes. All right. So it's going to be very rapid fire so that we can get as many questions. And how it's going to work is you just raise up your hand, you pose your question, whether directly to one member of the panel or to all three of them. Please keep it very short and straightforward, and I'm hoping the responses will come equally fast. We will take them one at a time because I have really bad short-term memory. I wouldn't remember all your questions. So you're going to ask them real time and get a response real time. We're together so far? Yes.
Thank you. This is a question for Wamboy. You talked about trademarking, or your name had a trademark sign on top. Where can I trademark, and what is the difference between trademark and copyright in Kenya? And
okay, so first of all, I'm really heartbroken that Liz couldn't be here, because that's actually what you're supposed to talk about. She's actually my lawyer. She's my IP lawyer. So let me just do a quick, what she would have kind of done. I've seen her present a number of times. So intellectual property is how you protect your idea or your product or your service. So there are different types. Trademark is a visual protection. So you trademark a logo, right? But you copyright content, if that makes sense. So you copyright a book, but you can't trademark a book, but you can trademark the logo of the book or how the cover looks. So what you need to do, and I guess Liz, we'll see how to bring Liz back on board, but my logo was trademarked because, one, it's a very generic name. It's idea. Go figure. So I had to find a way to protect I don't protect the name idea, I protect the idea in a bubble. That's what I'm protecting, right? But idea, I don't own it. So when you go to trademark to register, you have to denounce. I'm not saying I own the word idea, I'm just saying how the variation of how I presented idea is mine for the next 10 years. So if you try, just try and see, put and copy my logo, I'm protected. I can take you to court and I can sue you. So for Mama Zazas, I would probably say what you're doing, one, you could patent the recipe. That's what you could do. That's another trademark. If it's so special, you could patent, but you're not in...
Copyright, not trademark.
No, I'm saying if your recipe is so super unique and you've done something no one else has done, then you patent it. You're the first person to do it. Trademark is visual, copyright is content. Yeah?
Fatma, I hope that answers your question.
but I'll put you in touch with Liz directly and she can have a conversation.
You have to disclose the recipe.
Yes. Well, no, I know, but again, what I wanted to patent is how is it so unique? It has never been done. You're the first to do it. That's a patent, right? But a recipe is a recipe. Yeah.
Fatma, your question has been answered? All right.
Point of clarification still on the same one, boy. So you can. No. I probably might be something to be able to answer. It's about the non-disclosure agreement. If I have an idea and I'm discussing it with somebody and I don't want them to disclose it, so I get a non-disclosure agreement and I still have to do something, copyright.
Oh no, a non-disclosure agreement is not. It's not about intellectual property. I mean, it's part of it. Essentially, you should go to every meeting with a non-disclosure agreement. It's a one-pager document saying whatever is discussed in this meeting should not be spoken of outside. That's just and people will look at you badly, but you need to protect yourself, right? And it'll be a good case later when someone takes an idea or says, you know. So a non-disclosure agreement, I would say, and Liz would say, okay, I've stayed with Liz for so long, but yes, have one. By all means, protect yourself. So that's step one. Go to every first meeting or second meeting with a non-disclosure agreement. And it doesn't take a lot of money to draft one, yeah?
Thank you, Omwe. Next question?
I'm not a lawyer, by the way, so don't ask me legal questions.
Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, so I'm asking a question about search engine optimization, and I think the presentations you did were very clear, but there's one thing I think that was missing, and that's accessibility, because search engines don't just look at, you know, keywords and the content of your website. There are certain features, you know, for people who are, let's say, colorblind or are disabled in some way. I personally don't know what kind of features would be ideal for Kenya in terms of like making it more accessible. So if you have any ideas on that, I'd like to hear them.
That's a good question. Okay, I'm on thinking mode. I've actually never thought of that. Yeah.
So, okay, I studied a bit of web design. So some of the things that you can do is for your website, there's, I think, a piece of code that you can put in it so that if you're maybe hearing impaired, like you can't see, that, because some people who can't see, basically, they have a software that will read the website. So there is software or like code you can put inside. So when someone goes to that website, they basically reads it for them. I think there is also a special one for Braille, but I'm not 100%. I don't know. I think there's also a way you can incorporate Braille, but I'm not 100% sure. But another thing is just maybe even going back to the practical of, this is more in Wamboy's area, but and yours, in terms of branding, but like it's in terms of, say, the words that you choose to use, like how big is your font? Sometimes we assume, this is a nice font size, but then it's really small, even in things that you print. And then I guess you can also give, this is accessibility, but more in terms of language. So some people have the option on their website to have dual languages, so maybe English and French or Kiswahili, whatever you want. So that option is also there. But if accessibility is really important to you, I think that that's something that you can research with your web designer and ask them, like, what options do you have available for me? But they're definitely there. Yeah.
All websites, you are able to enlarge the text. You should go, we checked the website, like your newspapers, New York Times or Nation, you should be able to, all websites, if you check the New York Times or Nation, there's a feature to enlarge the text or zoom if the text is too small. Now also, for the blind, there's a translator. They usually put on headphones to listen to the audio of what's on the website. The image, and we were talking about this, you need to describe what the image is so that, because the Google wouldn't know, or the person who's blind wouldn't know what the image says. The text that you assign that image, black woman sitting down, describes what's on the picture. So every time you put a picture on your website, describe on the caption what the picture says so that that person who's impaired gets to know what's on the picture.
Thank you so much. Anybody else from the audience who's had that experience and would like to share what they know about it, just because it would be beneficial for everybody?
If your site is a WordPress site, it's really. Oh, sorry. Thank you. If your site's a WordPress site, your website, or your blog, they make it very intuitive about that. There's actually like a text box that specifically is talking to it's called alternative text is what it's actually called. And so it's very, very intuitive. And that's specifically for images.
Thank you. Any last input before we move to the next question? Okay, next question.
Morning. Very shaky. Mine isn't really a question. It's more of me looking for advice from Wamboy, especially. I liked your branding, your idea piece. So this year, I'm generally a very reserved and shy person. I never put myself out there. I might have a lot of ideas, but I don't do anything about it. So my friends dared me to audition for Miss Kenya, and I did as a dare. And now I've been shortlisted. So I need to get used to this public speaking thing, and I also need to learn how to brand myself. I created a personal website, but it doesn't have a call to action. I'm not really asking for anything. I have a blog where I basically vomit out my thoughts because I tend to exist a lot in my head. I'm also a mentor to a bunch of teenagers in Kibera. And having been shortlisted for this, it made me realize my importance, especially to these children. Because my lack of confidence is not something normal, it's self-inflicted. And I can say that it's as a result of, let me call it mental, I want to create a conversation around mental health, because my confidence issues are things I've harbored from my childhood. So I've realized that whatever these children are going through now, they're going to face in their adult careers. There's nothing really to fear right now, but as you can see, if you can see. So I want to create this conversation around mental health because my children are living within Kibera and there's a lot of things they're going through. How do I involve, and how vulnerable can I be on my blog? Like, should I just, I don't know. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying.
First off, congratulations, good for you. Please do let us know how can we support you. Do we click online, vote?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, good.
Winnie Akara.
Winnie Akara. So if you see anything online for Winnie Akara, please click vote. Thank you.
Kenyan girl on Facebook.
That Kenyan girl on Facebook. And thank you for being brave enough to ask your question. As you were asking your question, I could see Olivia's face going ding, ding, ding. So I'm curious to see what she says. So Wamboy, go ahead.
Just let Olivia answer first. Collect.
Okay, so you said you're on Facebook, right? Are you on any other platform other than Facebook? You have a blog?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What's the name of the blog? And on Facebook is That Kenyan Girl. Are you on Instagram?
I am this Kenyan girl.
Okay. Okay. And so okay. So maybe what I'd advise is that you said you don't have a call to action but when you were speaking to us, you literally listed the 3 main things that you want to focus on. So what I would say is that you already have the answer. Right? So those are 3 main things that you want to focus on. So maybe those are 3 main sections you need to have on your website or blog that focus on that. And then if you want, you can use your other social media platforms to help you discuss the things that you want to talk about. So there's the Miss Kenya, and then there's also the mental health. When I was doing my presentation, I spoke about how Twitter is sometimes a really good place to have these discussions. because you can maybe get a lot of people to talk about their experience and maybe share. What do you feel? I don't know if you can answer it now, but like, what do you hope to achieve by discussing mental health? Is it for awareness to be increased? Is it for these children to get help or insight? So I think it's important to answer that question, because then when you're going on social media to have this discussion, you'll be more focused. So if, say, you want awareness, maybe you might consider having people who are therapists as your contact, because when people start to open up and say all these things, and then you're like, oh my God, okay, someone really needs help, where are you going to direct them? Because what happens is when you go online and you start to become this personality that people look at, it's almost like you're given this responsibility. So it would be important as well, even as you're doing this, which is amazing, and I totally agree, mental health really needs to be discussed. Maybe you can think about other people that you can partner with, who you could be like, okay, there's this therapist that you can talk to, or there's this organization that you can direct people to. And in terms of how vulnerable can you be, that's a very tricky question. The thing I would say is you have to ask yourself, if this got out, would you be comfortable? Right? If you can live with it, and it's a very personal decision. I can't tell you, for me, maybe I'll be like, I just talk about my clothes and that's it. For other people, I talk about my clothes and how I wear them, so it's a very individual decision. But if you ask yourself that question and you're comfortable, you're like, yeah, if this came out, I'm okay, that's good. But just know, once it's out online, the internet, unfortunately, does not forget. So this is not to scare you, this is just to let you know that, just ask yourself that question. But then I think also, I find sometimes when people are really vulnerable, a lot of people can connect to that, and it makes people brave to be able to also share the situation. Yeah, so don't approach it from a place of fear, just being aware of, yeah.
Okay, because I caught a feeling, that's why I needed to take a break. I told you your brand is how you speak about yourself. So the moment you use the word vomit in relation to what you're putting out there, I'm already like, why do you hate yourself so much? That's why I caught a feeling. You're gonna, I know you're shy. Imagine I'm shy. Everyone, who's not shy here? Someone? You're not shy? We're all shy and we're all reserved, and we'd all like to live in a cocoon, but unfortunately God didn't create the world like that. We have to interact. So you're gonna have to learn how to talk positively about yourself. Don't use words like vomit. Don't degrade anything you're doing, because you're already doing such great things. Mental health is something that really needs to be discussed. And if you're going to put yourself out there to help other people to discuss it, you're going to have to be a shining light. You're going to have to see that what you're doing is going to help so many people. So don't talk looking down. Look up. You're doing a very beautiful thing. And that's your brand. And I'm happy God, just like God, you tell the universe, I'm shy. It's like, here is Miss, Kenya. I don't like talking. Here you are asking a question. You're already overcoming so many things, and that says a lot about your brand. Because if you're going to talk about mental health, you're telling people to overcome so many things that are putting them down. So you're going to have to find it in yourself, and you're going to have to change the language that you use to describe anything you do. And yes, you entered Miss Kenya. It's Miss Kenya. On a dare, but now imagine on it. The dare is done. Now you're on the platform, so take it forward. I think I got a feeling because I felt you want to water down what you're doing, and you're doing such great things already. So talk about it positively. I am a contender for Miss Kenya. I want to talk about mental health. I am that Kenyan girl. I want to do this ABCD things, right? And as she said, whatever, I've been blogging since 2005. I can't share my blog right now because I looked at it the other day, I was like, what was I saying? But as Olivia said, it's really up to you. But for what you want to do, you might have to be that honest and that vulnerable. And then, as she said, the internet never forgets. And just all I want to tell you is please, you're already doing great things. So don't talk about it in the... Your brand is hopeful, I can tell. It's going to help so many people. So look at it from that perspective. And that, you see, we haven't discussed logo again. Did we get today's lesson? Yeah? So you already have a brand, just talk about it more positively, right?
Thank you, Omboy. I was going to put Christine on the spot to help her find her language and find her tribe. Yeah.
Language. The word you're using is mental health. It's kind of like when Nike says we do athletic footwear. But in reality, when you go to Google search, you're looking for running shoes, hiking shoes. So when it comes to your let me focus on the blog. If I'm not wrong, if I haven't gotten the thread line, the thought line wrong, is you basically want girls to instill confidence in them, the confidence that you didn't get to have instilled in you. So very simple stories like that, just telling about the dare and how you took it up and now you're on this amazing platform. Sharing the behind the scenes, sharing memories that were fundamental, and how you would have solved it at that point with hindsight. Because they're not just looking to the problem, they're also looking to the solution. Just those very basic things. It's not complicated. It's not. I would love to help you kind of rework the blog, because they are going to come online. And if there's one thing that the millennial generation is truly hungry for, it's guidance. It's guidance. I love them because they're truth slayers. They tell it like it is. Where we grow up and we kind of put on a mask, and they'll take none of that. And it's like a correction, but not very many people understand that. They think they're crazy and they're out of their minds. But no, it's a correction, because we need people who can speak the truth, who can walk the truth and not a lie. They move from job to job because why should I do finance for the rest of my life? And I'm interested in, let's say, social entrepreneurship. Yeah. So just very simple topics. And when it comes to what you can and cannot share, this is my advice to anyone who comes to me. Imagine your life in terms of a circle, much like this. iHub is the core. At this core, these are things that you wouldn't even dare whisper to another human being. They're just that sensitive. This is you and God. Until you figure that out, I'm not talking to you. And that is a place that I hold, and those are boundaries that I keep, because if you let a human being in here, they don't know how to handle this. They don't know how to handle you. Outside, within the circle, is your friends and your family, things you're comfortable sharing with them. A problem is capitalizing or selling the personal memories you have with your friends and family. So something that's told in confidence ends up on the blog. And someone is like, well, I know you're a blogger, but I didn't expect that. And they pull back at a time when you need a support system around you. So core and circle are not for anyone else's consumption. Outside of that, go ahead and share. And there are so many things, it's insane. Yeah? So I hope that helps.
Thank you for your question. I'll have the lady in the striped jacket, the gentleman at the back, and yeah.
She's also just sorry, from the hands that went up, is that somebody adding to the discussion or asking a new question? New question? New question? Adding. I'd love for more questions, and I'd appreciate it if you can catch her after the session. I'd love for new questions so that we get to hear from everybody. So I'll have her input and your input, then we hand over to the gentleman at the back.
A quick add, and it's to validate you in the confidence matter. A major university here in Kenya just did a study on women entrepreneurs, and one of the things, a quick study that was done by a major university here in Kenya on women entrepreneurs validates your confidence issue. One of the things that is hindering us women from advancing our brands, our businesses to the next level is that confidence, is taking that leap, is jumping off that plane without that parachute or fixing that parachute on a way down. We are not accessing the billions of dollars, shillings the government has allocated for the women and youth at all,
because we don't have the confidence to step up and take our businesses to the next level. So if we can dare ourselves like you were dared, we take it on, trust me, we can do it. And believe me, that the dare was a push. Please, like she said, you just need the help to get comfortable in your skin to get it done. That's all. That's all. You can do this. We can do this, guys. We can.
Thank you so much. Hi. Your name?
So my name is Wabwe, and I'm an events organizer and artist manager. And I just wanted to tell her that we have a platform called, I'm not here actually because of this, but I felt like I need to mention this, that there's a platform called Mental Heaven, and it's been started by some friends of mine from campus, and it's about mental health and awareness. And the thing about it is, it's an organization that seeks to definitely spread awareness about mental health and issues that affect us, because all of us have mental health issues. It's just that we have never been triggered to get into the mental situations, you get. So the thing is, we have a pool of psychiatrists and psychologists who see people for free, because they are so expensive in Nairobi, and in this economy it's so hard for you to get help for like affordable rates, yeah? So there are people who have just volunteered and joined us, and it's on Facebook, and we also have a WhatsApp group where we also talk to each other, like when you have a bad day or something like that, especially because I work in the art scene, and many of us tend to get into mental issues. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a good resource to have. So I guess maybe at the end of the session, if people can just find a way of reaching out, I'm sure it's not just for her and her audience. We most likely have a situation we can identify with, so please get in touch with Wambui. Gonna move to the back.
Have a microphone. All right. It's working. Good morning. My name is Alan Oringo. I represent Language Experts. We do provide public speaking, communication training, and public skills, presentation skills training at Language Experts. My question has to do with websites, and I came a bit late. I'm sorry about that, because I had to go do something else. Whenever you request for web designers to present quotes or works that they've done before, it's almost as if they're working off of templates. And then you ask them, what can you do for me that somebody else will not do? And the answer is always the same. We'll help you with search engine optimization, we'll connect you to social media, and we'll make it flashy. Okay, I don't want flash intro because of our website, whatever, bandwidth issues. So can you just make it simple but very catchy? What can you tell upcoming entrepreneurs about the competitive advantage that they can put on their website so that it does not become another website? I'm just so tired of looking at another website connected to Twitter and social media.
Alan, can I give you a high five? Yanni, read mine. Been looking to upgrade our website, and yes, we get ridiculous quotations, and I'm always asking what's the differentiator? What will make my website different from everybody else's? Wambai, stop ducking. That's your question. And everybody else. Christine?
All right. This one streams down to your vision and their vision, and it has to align. It has to. Anyone can start anything. You know, you can learn how to create a website, but onto what? Maybe your strength is financial services, so you're able to craft that website in such a way that an investor comes on board or goes on the site and they get it. Again, it's tribesmen speaking to tribesmen. They understand the language, they understand the format. There are things that they're looking for, and they're able to find it. If it's balance sheets, if it's projected results for, you know, the corporate speak. So it goes down to vision. Vision ties into strategy, so that in as much as I'm an entrepreneur and I want to design a website, there's a specific niche. For anyone I may have lost talking about tribe just means niche, your audience, your market. Yeah? If I approach you and I'm selling flowers, but I'm speaking, again, corporate, it'll miss you, because you're looking for, you know, I need 20 cottage roses and 4 daffodils in the bouquet. You're not looking for the corporate speak end of it, right? So when I say tribe, I mean niche. The people who have understood this best are technology. They call it early adopters. Have you seen the technology, the curve? Yeah, it's called, they're called early adopters, the people who take on the technology. While we were all still using feature phones, I'm very sure that you had friends who had smartphones, and you didn't get it until they explained it to you. While no one was using smartphones, everyone was on the dial-up, there were those with smartphones. They're the early adopters. They're that technology company's niche. They're their tribe. So vision. I would advise you, if you're looking to get any service, sit down and talk to the owner or the founder. That basically tells you where their head is at. If it matches with what you're trying to achieve with your own company, go ahead. If it doesn't, keep looking. Otherwise, there's this lie that we're marketing to everyone, and that's not true. What you want to do is pick out your tribesmen from the group. It'll only be about 5, but these people are the ones who are going to represent you to the rest. So you won't have to do all the marketing yourself. They will market for you. So you find them and treat them right, treat them well. Yeah?
Olivia, before you pitch into the answer, mine is more of a question still to Christine. Assuming we were having a meeting and you said you're in the business of communication and presentation skills. So what questions should he be asking his web developer designer, assuming they're having like a needs analysis meeting? So just tangible questions he should be asking the designer so that they're all on the same page, because my experience with designers is they see the technical and the aesthetic, but he has a deeper need, which is I need to communicate, I need to speak that language. So what specific questions should he either expect from the designer or should he ask so that he gets the answers he's looking for?
Okay, how I would go about it is I just explain what I need. I need beautiful pictures on the site, because when people land on the website, whether it's a blog or the website, I want them to take in the aesthetic. In addition to that, what can you advise me? So they're able to come in now with the tools, technical-wise. So it starts with your needs, and then they begin to align their learning, their tools to your need. The better they can do that, where you're able to sit down and talk like almost an hour with not much hindrance, you're pretty much a good match, yeah? Otherwise, just keep looking. Don't settle for anything, because this is your presence online. So they have to be able to help you communicate that. One of the biggest challenges when it comes to the tech space is that they haven't been skilled with soft skills. And my challenge is not to them, it's to you. Women are the ones with the soft skills, but they're the ones running away from tech. Yes. We're the ones who would make that big difference. So I don't need to sit and explain and he's not understanding. What you can do is maybe ask for someone with soft skills. You can ask specifically for a woman, and hopefully she'll be able to help you on the technical bit and on the soft skill, just with understanding. But it's a problem. There are schools like Moringa School who are working on it. I've spoken to them, and they're actually fixing the problem. But if you were just to step up with the love of technology that you have. I don't come from a tech background. I come from a business background. But I have a love of tech. I think maybe fathers have a lot to do with it, and my dad didn't shy away from getting me anything that I needed, myself and my siblings. So if anyone told me, okay, but Christine, you can't do that, watch me, yeah, bypass. But technology would grow in leaps and bounds if the women weren't scared to get into. Maybe we should paint all the cameras pink and put sparkles on them or something so that they don't look as scary. But just with the little that you know, the little that you have, and you grow it, that's it. and you're able to compete from your perspective. Yeah.
Thank you, Christine. Olivia?
Okay, so I want to kind of flip the script. I totally understand the frustration of going to a web designer and they're not giving you what you want, right? But remember, they're a tool. Just like social media, they're a tool. So I want to flip it back to you and ask any person who's approaching a web designer for you to decide what is it that you want that website to achieve. So you know it in your head. You're like, I want people to come here, to interact, to do this, do that. Sometimes you now need to communicate that to your designer so that they can do that on the website, so it's different. The frustration comes because you have this idea that this is what you want to achieve with your website, but you haven't really communicated it to the designer. So you're like, this person, why are they not getting it? But it's all up here. So it's really important for you to get clear. Why do you even want a website? What is it supposed to do? What's that special thing you feel when you have that website? It will add value to your brand. And this is not to like hit back at you. It's brilliant that you want a website, but what's the special thing you want it to do? Is it to download recipes? Is it to be able to, as she said, to do budgets? Like, what's that special thing? And unfortunately, your designer can't figure that out because they don't know your brand. They don't know your audience. They'll oversee and do their best to step in the shoes, but you know your audience. You know what they've been asking you for. So then what is it that then you go to them and say, by the way, they really need for us to download music on this website. Then the designer will be like, okay, this is a feature we can use to do that. I feel like if you approach it from that point of view, that special sauce you're looking for, you actually have the key. It's not really the designer. The designer will be able to implement that special thing. And yes, some of them might be able to be like, oh, this is what your problem is, maybe we can do this. But I think that sometimes you have to go back to you, your business, your goals. What are you trying to achieve with your target audience? I think Wamboi has something to add.
Okay, so first of all, you've caught a raw nerve right over here. We're graphic designers and web designers. I'll tell you something about us. We're not magicians. I wish we were. I'd be rich. We're not magicians. We can't read your mind, right? One, if you just send an email asking for a quote, imagine I'll send you a quote back. You know, you're not interacting with me as a person. Hata mimi niko na email address. Shika quote, 250K. Uko nayo? You know, that's one. So also sometimes, let me tell you what we are in essence. Sisi ni fundi. We are the guy on Ngong Road making a bed. Now if you pass by and you like the bed you see, imagine that's a bed I'll sell you. But if you come and interact and say, I want a Lamu bed, queen size, I need it 40 feet off the ground, I want it in mahogany. You see, you know what you want. Huo fundi ajui, Omosh ajui, your bed unataka, but Omosh has templates. And Omosh has a couple of beds that have seemed to work for other clients. So one, if you want, we are humans, so interact with us as humans. Come and ask me what, tell me what you want, describe it for me, right? That's called a brief. Same thing with logo design, same thing with interior design, same thing, we're just fundis. We just happen to know how to put it together, but we only put together what you want. It's in your head. And that's why we go back and I tell you, that whole process of branding, you're the only one. I didn't tell you you're going to brand along with the world. That process of branding is you. And then you're able to explain to other people what it is you want. So that brilliant website you want, imagine it can be made in an instant, but you tell us what. Feed us. We're like a computer. You give me my best logos, I was given the best information, or the best websites you see. There must have been such critical information that all you're leaving me to do is create. So really, we're not, okay, I guess we are. We're defending our craft, but next time you talk to any web designer, graphic designer, interior designer, any type of designer, we're not magicians. Feed us the information you want out, and we'll create it.
All right, thank you. One last comment from Alan, and then I take on the next question.
Yeah, just a quick comment. When we come to you, we already know you're not magicians. As a matter of fact, the person I was working with came to my office. When it was all over, I was the one to tell him, look, I don't need flash intro. The average person is suffering from tomboya with very low speed. So I'm the one telling him. It's like, he's supposed to know that, So one of the things that I was saying, it goes back to soft skills. Even though we know that you have limited knowledge and all that, it helps for you to recommend. Where is your office? What is your audience? Who do you want to reach? At what time? What is their age? What kind of product? If you do that proactively, it really helps a lot. Because when you say you're not magicians, we somehow already know that as the client.
So, well, to answer that is, that's what Christine said. It's okay to go through 10 designers till you get the one you want. So if this person isn't doing it for you, it's okay to tell them, imagine it's not working, it's fine, because again, it could also be the level of education of the person. Maybe the guy just opened a computer and started downloading WordPress templates. We don't know. And yet there's the guy who, so I think it's okay it's your brand. At the end of the day, it's you who will be online. So go through as many people until you find that one person who works for you, I think.
Sorry, Mo, as you're walking to the next question, I just want to chip in. So what you're asking for really, I think, is someone that's able to build with the user in mind. And that is actually now a specialized skill. Not all developers have it. And so you may find many times, especially when you're building a platform for a large audience, you're going to have your web developer and you're going to have a UX expert. User experience design. Yeah, and so if you have the budget for that, great. If you're lucky, you have a developer who actually has that skill, and so they're able to build you something with the user in mind, because they'll ask you several questions, and they're asking them based on who they know your user to be, because of the conversation that the two of you have heard. In some cases, like you do with the iHub, because we do offer that service, we'll actually sometimes bring in a focus group of people to come and test the product as it is, and then tell you how they'd want to interact with it. So I mean, this is services that are really based on budget. I mean, Wamboi mentioned WordPress. That's something, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you may want to think about just downloading Joomla or WordPress or whatever it is, and maybe that's, I don't know if that's a conversation for now or another day, and just plug in. I have no dev skills, but I developed my blog on my own. Someone just helped me download it, and I put up my content, and bang, I was online.
Thank you. Thank you, Nekesa. Alan, just to make sure that your question have come up in conversation. So Christine talked about the language. Know who you're speaking to, what you want to say, how you want to say it. So by the time you call on the developer or the designer, that's very clear in your head. Olivia mentioned Olivia and Wamboi, I think, pretty much said the same thing, where they come from the technical expertise. And I think I'd like to appreciate the fact that we do recognize that you're not magicians and you have the technical expertise, but also to play the devil's advocate, to play from the client side, it could be in my head, and sometimes articulating it is not my forte. But the thing is, I know what I want, and I'm hoping, and why I've called you on board is to help me translate those thoughts into something visual that can be seen. So it may not necessarily happen in 1, 2, 3 sessions, but it will happen. Nekesa has said something valid, where if you're just starting out and the resources are a challenge, I think we are all getting to that point of you could get anything online. So do your dummy website, figure out the look and feel, and as the business grows, then you're able to take it to where you want to be. But back to the point of learning, have a plan, find your people, speak their language, then visualize it. I hope we've answered your question. Great. Next question. So, sorry, we'll have her, and then, do you want a question? And she had a question, so we'll go this way, then back to you.
Hello. My name is Cecilia Wamboi, and I wanted to clarify. Amniski? Okay, I wanted to clarify on what he had asked, but it's a bit aside, not on the techie part. I have a series of questions, and I wanted to add to some, just a little bit. I'm a self-taught developer, you can say that. I have a different background, but the reason for that is because I have this passion, what I was created for, it's in line with tech and business, so I have to go it either way. So to answer him, I have a blog called The Prodigy Tech and Digital Culture, and I'm the one who built it, but the theme is not all that. I've not finished on that. But the most crucial thing, the most important thing about websites and blogs and everything is content. Content is king. Whether you have the most beautiful website, if it's not engaging, it has the need to be engaging enough for your clients to interact. So I think you should look at the side of hiring a content creator, like a writer, video, and all that. So on to my question, and that will tackle soft skills, because people want to interact, not waselie. They want to interact with, are you human? Are you able to entertain me? All those things. And that's why Facebook in the first place is there. People share things to entertain. Anyway, to my question, I have two. Let me start with the first one. Okay, so it's on blogs and YouTube and social media and marketing and influencer marketing. So on blogging, it's a legal thing? I know your friend is not here. The one was to talk about legal stuff. So is it illegal? Is it in Kenya? Is it important? Okay, ni muhimu yani ukianzisha blog unafaa kuregister it as a company. Like, are you supposed to go on that route? Like, you go tell Sharia House, those people, I want to start a blog, this is my business name, and all that, because of the tax. Like, for me, the way I want to try to monetize it is through Google AdSense, maybe affiliate marketing, and you say I'll get paid, and there's the taxation part of it. So is it essential? Like, you say YouTuber, anafaa kwenda kuregister an influencer and all that, and acha tu nimalize hapo because the other one, yeah.
Thank you so much, Omboy. So if I hear your question correctly, you are getting into content creation for social media, and your question is, do you have to register your blog as a legal entity, and what are the legalities around that registration?
Yeah, business.
And should you make income from your content? How does that reflect on your taxes? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay, seeing as we have lawyers, an impromptu lawyer, the thing I can say is, like, some people do start without their business being registered, right? So you can consult, so you can be a consultant, but then there's like 5% tax withholding that you would charge your client, but that's only for 24,000 shillings and above, right? So that means you also now have to work on your tax and make sure that you're doing your returns. Now that 5% tax withholding is normally paid by the company that you're offering the service to, right? So in terms of registering the business and the legalities of that, I'm going to throw it to Omboy.
Is there a lawyer here today?
Yeah. Do you have
Yeah. Because I honestly can't answer legality, but I'll answer after she does. I'll answer a specific question.
So please stand up so we can see your talk. Just because sometimes you're starting a business and you don't know if it's going to succeed, so you don't want to be spending money, because even starting a business itself is a lot of money. Yeah? Registering a company is more than 10K, so you don't want to be spending money in stuff. And you haven't gotten things right yet. So what I personally do with the small businesses that I begin with, I register like a sole proprietorship. It costs about 850 shillings to do that. You can do it online. So start small. If you're registering a sole proprietorship, all you have to do when it comes to taxes, paid like with your income tax. So what I personally do is that I include it in my personal income and I pay from there. Yeah, so it's less taxing on your part. You don't have to get an auditor to audit your books. You know, when you're starting off a company, like, there's so many other hidden costs that you probably don't want to incur. Yeah. So that's the journey that I personally take, because, you know, just to reduce the processes and the money spent. And once the business is successful and you think, you know, you're going to make lots of money out of this, then you could register it as a company and go through all the processes.
Thank you. However, just to clarify what you're talking about, a business name is still a company, right? What you're talking about, the big one, was limited company.
Okay, you could register it as a sole proprietorship, and once, you know, things are settled and you've gotten if you've gotten most of your vision, you know, the journey of your business. Because when you're starting, it's a bit blurry. So once you've gotten it all right, then you could register it as a limited company and then go through all those processes.
Yeah, and a sole proprietorship is a type of business. Yes, it's a type of business.
So,
sorry, I didn't get your name. Oh, I'm so sorry. How did I forget our name? As she said, and I like the statement you said, you don't know how big what you're doing will become. So you might go down the road and then, okay, I'm not talking from a legal perspective. I'm talking from someone who has ideas all the time. So the first time I had Hairpolitan come to my mind at 3 a.m. sometime, I go online, I look for it online. So I buy I buy the domain .com.co.ke, I'll book Facebook, Twitter, I will go to Sharia House online, eCitizen, and get the name. So all of that, incidentally, as she said, costs way less than even 5K, you know, but at least I have the names. Now, I would advise that you kind of find how to own as many assets at the least price. Like, for example, getting a .co.ke is 1,740. Ukijikaza lunch 2 weeks, you've paid for your domain, you know. So own those places, because you don't know, you might hit the mother lode with whatever you're doing, and then now you're ahead, but when you come back, you find you have to buy the domain from some guy sitting in his sitting room in America, you know. So my advice is on a brand perspective. As soon as you have the name, whatever it is, imagine it can change later. An idea, Indigo Design, the paper I showed you moving around, for 10 years was what she's saying. It was a sole proprietorship. I made it a limited company in 20. Idea Agency is the first limited company I've ever owned. So, as she said, you don't have to look for the 30Ks and a lawyer to register a company. That's big. 850 bob and your ID gets your name out of eCitizen. But try as much as possible, even slowly, to acquire as many assets as you can. I don't know if you know the blogger Lavi Ajaya, yeah? She went ahead and then she just became this big thing. So the day she wanted to buy Lavi.com, someone had bought it. They were just waiting. Give me $2,000. Imagine you're paying for a brand you've worked for. You're paying so much more. So for a very little amount of money in a short period of time, try and own as many assets as possible. That now, when you're ready to go online to build a website, to do all these things, hata kama saizi you're Wambui at WordPress, the day you're ready, your assets are ready and you're not losing out. And I think that's a good way to protect yourself.
Thank you so much. I hope your question has been answered. In the interest of time, we can only take 3 more questions. So we'll have the lady right next to me, the lady in white, and one person who's not said anything since we began. And here she is. And after that, we'll wrap up the Q&A. The panel is still here for the next maybe half hour or so. If you need to ask a direct question, please just see them after the session and just get to know your neighbor. They could actually have the solution to your problem. So we'll take the questions in that order and have them answered at once. Panel, is that good for you? We hear her question and hers, then we answer all 3 as we wrap up. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Joanne. I am in the beauty business. So the beauty business generally is purely visual. So you either Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, you have to be on almost all visual platforms. My question is regarding how much is about overposting. You know, people don't read captions as much as you have beautifully created captions on your images, especially on Insta, or even sometimes on your videos on Facebook. So as much as you want to engage people, you find your audience that have visited you or have hearted your pictures on wherever, you find they still didn't get it. You have done all that, you have provided a beautiful image, you have done the caption, but they still didn't get it. But they are your audience. They are that's your niche. Those are the people you talk to. Even maybe you can pick 3 or 4 that you know they always come to your blog or they come to your page. So I'm wondering how we have these tools for scheduling and planning our posts, but is there a point where you'll be overposting or recycling your posts or redoing them because people aren't getting? To pass your point across as much as possible, because maybe you know this is this is where the nail is. I need to hit it better. So where can you just enlighten us on that? Yeah.
Joanne. So Joanne's question, I'll repeat, is she's in the beauty industry, so utilizing social media platforms. And I think she has two questions in one. How do you ensure you're not overposting? And then how do you make sure your audience actually reads the captions? Because she said sometimes they click the like and everything on the image without necessarily getting the message. So her second question is, how do you ensure your audience has gotten the message and are not just liking for the sake of liking? Our second question is from...
Sorry?
From Jael.
Hi. So my name is Jael. My question is basically regarding startup business. Sometimes when in that process of identifying what kind of business you want, there's that part of, there's what you're passionate about, and there's what is an immediate need which you can meet. But sometimes the challenge with, like, if it's an immediate need, maybe you don't have a vision because it's not what you really want to do, but it's something, if you do it, can get you money, but you don't have like that vision, that long-term idea of what it can become. And so even your goals are kind of like hazy, and then there's what you're passionate about, it, you have the vision and everything, but the startup is like more hard. So like even if it's about jumping off the plane, with your vision is like much harder because like what you're passionate about, because it's kind of hard to get it starting. But for the other one, there's a need, you can meet it, you can make money, but you don't have the end goal. So like where does that balance come in? Or do you start with one which enables you to get money, then you jump to the other side? Or do you just be patient and perseverant on this other side where your passion is? And yeah, so that's pretty much my question.
Sorry, you said your name is?
Jael.
Jael, they want to die broke. Yeah? So she has grand ideas that might not give her money, but she has this idea that could give her money. So where does she put her energies into? We have the question? No, we got the question. Jael, is that your question? Okay.
Hi, my name is Njeri. I'm working on my confidence, and I'm a writer. I'm a content creator for blogs and website, which do really well. But I have a personal blog which has been in existence for like 2 years now. Everything we've talked about here, when you key in my blog name on Google, it's the first one that comes up. And I've grown a tribe and all that, and all the branding and all that, but still my tribe is not growing. The content is amazing, but it's not growing. So I wonder what I'm doing wrong. My blog is called Dauntless Blog. Just key in on Google, Dauntless, D-A-U, yes, D-A-U-N-T-L-E-S blog. Yeah. I'm a religious blogger. I blog about God. Yeah.
Thank you, Njeri. Her question is all about the numbers. Her tribe is not growing. That's your question, right? Yes. Okay, so we shall take those as the last three questions before we wind up.
Okay, so the first question was, I think, pretty much for me. So it's about overposting. Now, personally, I always advise my clients to do quality content, not quantity content. So please, 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 don't post 10 things just because they said you're supposed to post 4 times a day. No. You'd rather post once, even a week, and it's a quality post, right? So sometimes what happens is the audience gets so used to you, they're like, it's this person, swipe. You know, they swipe, they move up. So what I'd advise people to do is to maybe reduce. If you're doing, like, everyone is different, but I would really advise you to sometimes even stop. Like if you post 4 times a day, reduce it to 2 and see. Because sometimes it creates the longing and people go back. There are people that I follow on Instagram, and like I'll go back every time to see what they've posted. They haven't posted today, okay, I'll go tomorrow. Okay, next week I'll go, because their content is so good. So I'd say try it, like if you're evaluate as well, maybe do a focus group and ask people who will give you honest feedback, do you feel that it's too much? And then maybe even check yourself. Sometimes we know the answer, but we don't want to say. We're like, it's fine, it's okay, it's good. I'm doing 4 times. They said 4 times. So I'd advise people to do less is more. How do you avoid overposting? Maybe evaluate what you've been doing right now. For Joanne, where's Joanne? How many times have you been posting every day?
About 3 times.
3 times to 5 times a day?
No,
a week. 3 to 5. 3 to 0. Okay. That seems about average. That seems okay. Yeah. So you would be in the safe zone. Now onto the big one about your audience is not responding the way you'd like, or they can't see the captions, right? The truth of the matter is these days we have less focus, and our attention span is like down to, I don't even know if it's a second, right? So if you'll see on Facebook, you watch yourself on Facebook, you'll see a video, up, move. Like you literally scroll like this. So some things that people do, for instance with videos, because on say Instagram and on Facebook, the video starts, right, without sound. So what people have done is they put graphics. They put really interesting graphics, right, motion graphics to capture people to read. So even as they're scrolling, they can already see that. So sometimes people won't read the caption at the bottom or the top, depending on what platform you're on. They'll read the caption or the graphics that are on the image. And then sometimes you need to work with influencers or people other people know. Because we're drawn to people. So if there's a fashion blogger who you feel would be good to partner with, that would be maybe an option. Because people, if you're just posting the same things over and over again, people sometimes get bored. Right? So maybe think about working with influencers to be able to promote your product and to create different content. But then I think maybe I'd also go back to asking what was your goal? And this is a conversation you can have later, but maybe it's about evaluating how are you measuring your success? Is it conversion of sales? Is it like if 10 people like my photo, then it's successful? Is it if 3 people share, then it's successful? How are you measuring that your clients haven't read? How do you know that? So even how you're measuring that is very important, because you could say, I only got 10 likes, but maybe your sales have increased. So it's really important to know how you're measuring your success, because I think that can really influence a lot of to realize whether you're actually successful or not with the contents that you're posting. There was the one about the blog, but then I think for me to be able to answer the one about the religious blog, I'm just jumping. I'd need to know a bit more about the contents that you're posting and like your target audience, and then I can give you more direct advice in regards to that. And it's kind of tied to what I said before. How do you know that your numbers are not growing? Is it because they're not liking enough? Is it because you're not having enough interaction? And then sometimes, it's a harsh truth, sometimes you believe your content is brilliant, it's amazing, but your audience doesn't feel that. So then maybe it means you need to change your approach. You could be doing the high quality images and everything, but it's just not for them. So maybe then does it mean you need to find a new tribe? Maybe the tribe you thought that was yours isn't really yours. You need to actually find that one. Or is it that they are yours, but you're actually not speaking the language? Yeah. The one about passion and money, I mean, everyone I think has a different approach. So
you're the person to actually answer the question, Olivia.
So I, as they introduced me earlier, I'm a singer as well, and I do social media, right? So there's a term called bridge jobs, right? And sometimes we've been told if you're passionate about something, that's what you're supposed to do. If you do something else, you're not passionate enough about that thing. I have a different school of thought. I believe you can do both. So the way I've been able to pay for my music, because I'm working on an album, is I've worked. So I've had full-time jobs, I've also consulted. So I'm not in a label, but I'm paying for all my production. Why? Because I had an income, right? So I personally believe that you can do that thing. If it can bring you the money to be able to give you the time to do that thing that you're passionate about, why not? The main thing to remember is you must make time for that thing you're passionate about. Because what happens is you start making the money, you get really busy, and then suddenly that passion just, goes over there on the side. So I think what I found, being able to make money to support my passion, it frees me up. So then I'm not like, oh my God, I have to pay my bills. So then maybe I do something that I really didn't want to do. So imagine if I had to do music for money initially, then maybe I have to create a song that I wouldn't really have created before, because I have to pay the bills. But because I have something that pays the bills and supports my music, I'm able to create the thing that I really want to do. But then that's my own personal approach. Other people have different approaches. Yeah.
Thank you, Olivia. I hope you still realize that you do owe us a song. So
I will do one at the end. I will close.
Just saying.
To answer Joanne, I will give you a personal experience. Olivia was, how many hats have we talked about? I wear many hats. I'm a partner in a company called Harvest of Sunshine. We make natural water-based products for hair and skin. And when we started on social media, we were like, So we called Olivia. Olivia ran our social media platforms for a year. And let me tell you the stuff we learned. We learned a lot. Now, we could have spent the whole time talking about me, Harvest of Sunshine, me, but people would be just like, you, boring. But she taught us, talk about other things. So yes, we're Harvest of Sunshine, but we're also about health. So let's talk about fitness, let's talk about good eating, let's talk about, let's talk about sunshine, let's talk about, so you put a variety of things out that is not necessarily talking about yourself, because imagine you go to a meeting somewhere and I'm just there talking about myself. I never ask about you, I never discuss the weather, and that's what good conversations are made of. So the same way you want to have a good conversation with someone, don't just talk about yourself, ask about them, talk about a couple of friends you have, which is called gossip, but talk about a couple of friends you have. So that's where you bring the influencers on board. So look at your social media presence as a very good conversation. So if you're talking about yourself, is that a good conversation? If you're just, so that's what I learned from Olivia. I don't think she knows I learned that anyway. So that's in terms of looking at what you're putting out. You're having remember I talked about intimacy. You're having a very good conversation with your clientele. Make it the best conversation ever, so that when they come on Instagram, they're like, hey, first things first, let me look at my favorite people, then I'll scroll. Make sure you're their favorite people, but by how you talk to them. Yeah? Passion and immediate need. Hoi, Jael. Your problems are my problems, are all our problems. Yes, and I agree. Someone somewhere told us that if you don't do your passion 100, all the time, then you're not passionate about it. I'm just going to take you back to being very disciplined. Go make that money, please. Run. Don't worry about goals and whatever. Go make that money, right? But still, to be very effective in making the money, you do need those goals. I know it's hard to think about how to package the money maker, but you'll make more money if it's well packaged. So you're going to have to bite the bullet and create that brand as well, right? Now, we just have to go back to God gave us only 24 hours and 7 days in the week. You're going to have to be very meticulous about how you do both. We actually have to learn to schedule time for our passions. If you're very passionate about something and it's the thing you want to do for the rest of your life, then give it very specific time. Monday 9 to 2. Usinipigie simu. I'm not picking calls. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to write my song. I'm going to write that book. I'm going to write that article. I'm going to sew that dress. Because someone told us passions are these fleeting things. You're going to have to create very specific time. On Monday, I have many hats. So what has happened is I give each hat a day. If you call me on Monday about another hat, I will sincerely tell you, please, can we talk about this on Tuesday? Because I'm dealing with this other thing. And people will learn. Don't worry about people and their problems. People will learn how to approach you. So if Saturday, I know Olivia is in the studio all day, and she's told me that several times, it'll be very silly of me to call her on Saturday, because now I respect her time. So you have to give your passion the same respect as you'd give something that gives you money. Give it an equal amount of time, because if you don't water it, it won't grow. But please, make that money, by all means. And if you can find a way, and it's sometimes a miracle, to fuse your passion into your money maker, you have gold. You'll have a lot of gold. Hairpolitan, for me, the question I started with was, how can I hire myself? I'm a multi-talented person. I write, I can take photos, I can model, there's nothing I can't do. But if I wanted to hire myself, instead of waiting for someone to hire me, what would that thing look like? And it would look like a magazine. because then I can do the photography, I can do the writing, I can do the editing, I can do, you understand? So also sometimes, if you were to hire yourself for everything you can do, what does that thing look like? You know, if you can make money doing that and your passion is this, just sit down a bit longer and try and see how they can come together, because I believe they can, and then you'll just be very happy. Hey, Jerry, yeah, I think I'm with Olivia. I think we kind of have to see what we're working with. Yeah, that one maybe, yeah, maybe you need to see. That one needs to be a direct, there's no...
Jerry, are you happy to have them answer your question after the session? Yeah. Okay, great.
Everything has been pretty much covered, so I'm just going to go through my pointers. Joanne, my issue is that your entire business is on social media. So what happens is that you've conditioned your audience. There is such a thing. You're teaching them to take things in small bits, small bits. Bring them over to your own site, that is if you don't already have one, or direct them to your site where you do have one. The biggest advantage that bloggers have is that their audience comes ready for them. So if today you've typed 300 words, 500 words, I'm there. I understand you. I've actually made time out of I've taken time out of my lunch to just sit and take in what you have to say. But social media comes in small. Remember, it's micro-blogging. You're micro-blogging. Take all that, condense it, the best of it, and put it online and direct them there. What happens is that it conditions them to kind of give you more time, and your call to action will be clear to them, if that helps at all. For Jael, I'm in agreement with both Olivia and Wambui. As long as you create time and a budget for your passion with what you're doing, you'll be good. But if you start working on the immediate need, and that can take you places for very many years, you'll be running right through when you could have been spending that time working gradually at something you're truly passionate about. It's not as easy as all that to bite the bullet and craft vision or strategy around something you're not really interested in, to tell you the truth. That's not where I deviate. So go ahead, get paid, but make sure a portion of that payment is being funded directly into your passion, that you've created time for it. So that over time, what happens is that the immediate need will fund your passion until your passion is strong enough to run itself. Then you can drop the immediate need or fuse it, like Wambui said, and then run ahead. You don't want to be running on fumes, which is what immediate need, that area does to a lot of people. There are a lot of people working at great jobs, earning great money, and they hate every single day they wake up. They hate it. But it paid for the house, it's paying for the school fees, it's paying for the vacation. Please note, you're human, so you have a limit. And there's a day where people just check out. They check out. It doesn't matter what title they have, CEO, CFO, they check out. Like, I don't want any more. And they're starting from the ground up. And that's not easy. So fund your passion with the immediate need profits and make time for it. Funjeri, please remember that not everyone has a 1 million follower blog. The best example I can give you is those who read books. The reader community is very small. I love books, I love reading, and it's very small, especially when you compare it to beauty bloggers. They have numbers through the roof. But when you look at those who do like just book blogs, they're fewer, they have a smaller community. But here's the catch. The reader community are leaders. They are leaders. So what happens is that the one with the smaller group has smaller group that can have a bigger impact. So be careful against looking at numbers as a success module or as a success measurement. Yes, it feels good to have big numbers, but go for impact. At the end of the day, go for impact. Yeah? You only have one life, one legacy. Don't let that be, I had 1 million followers, but to what end? To what end? And trust me, these leaders go into their businesses and they make decisions, and it will come back around. It's not that you won't get paid or you won't have as big as an influence. You could just have one of your readers who pulls you up and says, you know what, I like what you're saying, you're making sense. Could you please come talk to the UN youth group in New York? And you're like, what? What? Yeah, so yes, it is important for them to be able to look at what you're doing, but be careful against the mentality that my tribe must be 1 million people. No. Maybe you just have 10 leaders who are able to impact 100 million people. You've done your job.
Thank you so much, Christine. Guys, wasn't that awesome? As we wind up, I really just want to appreciate each and every one of you. The session has been very intense, especially the second half. Thank you for sitting through it, for listening, for asking your questions, and just taking the time to be here. And I think you guys are just the best. And I think we're going to just clap for one another just to appreciate your time. Nekesa, I've dropped this mic so many times. Please don't send me a bill, please. Oh, Obama style. All right. As we wind up, and I know we are all anxiously waiting for Olivia to sing, I'd just like to mention that this is part 2 of a series. We're running about 7 total. The next one is happening on the first week of November, same time, same place. iHub will reach out to the communication, and the topic in discussion is HR, right?
Less than that, because from here, I feel like we need to go into IP and taxation.
Okay. All right. So I guess we shall get in touch with Liz, and we will communicate the next topic, but they are 7 leading up to a workshop, most likely early next year. So everything we're learning every month will accumulate in one big workshop, and hopefully we'll have everybody on board, and we hope to see the same faces. There is a Slack group, so when you signed up on Eventbrite, Nekesa was able to take down your details. She will add you to the Slack group. The Slack group allows you to continue the conversation. You can find notes from the first session. You will get notes from this session. And it's a very good opportunity for each and every one of you not to just sell your business, but find your new customer, and you never know, your Uncle Sam could be there and they're thinking, this is a business I want to put money into. So please look out for communication from Nekesa. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Amboi. And most ultimately, thank you, Nekesa, for making this happen. We're like-minded in the sense that we really do have, I don't like the word passion. I feel like people overuse it, but we do feel deeply for women in business, and I'm very, very grateful that right now we do have that platform. There are very many opportunities for us. We just need to be confident enough to take them. We need to keep learning. Nobody has the formula. We need to keep learning, we need to keep growing, and we need to support each other. So thank you so much, Nekesa, for running this series. We're looking forward to the rest. And without much further ado...
Wait. Let me say a few things before Olivia sings, because after she sings, no one's going to listen to me. So it's going to be over. So what I'll do with the Slack group, I want to add you to the Slack group because it would be a bit tedious for me to add 100 plus people. What I will do is, if you register, then I have your email address, and so I will email everyone with a link, so you just need to click on that link and join Slack. And then when you join Slack, please don't just be quiet. Imagine for the month I've been talking to myself. Don't Slack when you join Slack. I've been talking to myself the entire month since the very first one. So I mean, get in there, say something, talk about yourself. It's really a time for us to connect even between the forums. If you didn't register, then what you'll need to do is wait until Tuesday. The recap blog for this session will be up on Tuesday, and then in that blog post, I'm going to put a link to the Slack group, and then you can join you can join then. And then tell your friends, you don't have to have been here to join the Slack group, you really just need access to the link. So, send the link to your friends, tell them to join the group. We really want, we want to have an online, we can't meet every day, and there's so much to talk about. And there's so many questions you guys had for these ladies that you weren't able to ask. So take advantage of the Slack group for those conversations. Monthly, we host an entrepreneurs forum, which is now open to everyone, not just ladies. It's hosted by Bitang and Demo. And when I told him about this forum, he said he really wants to come and talk to women about, and I think you alluded to it, Eunice, about reasons why women don't really get into entrepreneurship. What are the blockers? What are the real blockers? What are the self-imposed bloggers? But this will be part of this particular series. It'll likely be on a Saturday because he comes in on Saturdays once a month to run that session. So I will turn word round again. What I'll do is I'll post it on Slack. So if you're not on Slack, you will not get the notification. Now I want to give you some leakage. As you may know, so the iHub is more than just a tech space. We're actually an innovation space, so we're open to innovators, whether you're a techie, a creative, a writer, a poet, whatever you do. There's a place where we all sync. We don't work in parallel. And so the iHub is actually open to everyone, not just techies. And so we do have membership criteria, and I can send all that on the Slack channel as well, ranging from 7,000 bob a month to 150,000 bob a month. But we also have daily rates, 1,000 bob a month. But what we're doing for the month of October is every Friday we'll have an open day, beginning this Friday. So 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., come in at absolutely no cost, test out the space, give us your feedback, tell us what you'd like to see if you want to be a member. And then hopefully at the end of October, I'll have a lot of you guys signing on to be part of our membership. And then that would automatically give you access to, yes, obviously the space, but also we run acceleration and incubation programs. So a lot of you who are in early stage, you may want to take advantage of those. And we actually have a call for applications. I think it will be January. We're running an acceleration program. We are doing the first cohort now. We'll do the second cohort beginning January. And it's a Joe, how long is it? Is it 3 months? I know. It's yes, it's 6 months. Yeah, it's really intense, and the idea is that everyone that goes through the acceleration program, by the time you're done, you're absolutely ready to scale. Like the day after you graduate, here you go and you're going to get $1 million for sure. Now I'm kidding, but you're you're absolutely ready to scale. That's really the ultimate goal of the Traction Camp. So yeah, again, thank you so much for coming. Please join Slack. Thank you, ladies. Wamboy joked earlier. She said, "You're helping me meet my deliverables." It's true. I will get paid this month because you guys showed up.
Are we sharing?
I'm so grateful.
Are we sharing?
I am.
Are we all sharing?
No, we're not sharing. But here's the thing. So yes, for real, by having you guys here, having so many people come through, it actually helps me as Nekesa and us as the iHub meet our KPIs. And the only way that I can return that favor is, please, I'm absolutely at your disposal. Beyond today, beyond Slack, meet me anywhere, just say, Nekesa, you owe me, and this is what I want, and I will do it, if it's within my means, for real, because I'm so grateful that you all came. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nekesa.
Olivia.
The last PS. My 5 coin pickers, please remember to book your appointments before you leave. I know a few people had asked me for my card. Just give me 5 minutes to pick it from my handbag, and then I'll be able to share it with you. And yes.
Okay, so since I've been asked to do the song, I'm going to just do a verse and a chorus from a song that's going to be on my album. It's called Better Than Just Fine. I thought it was kind of adequate for the meeting. And yeah, I hope you are inspired. I've been walking this road too long to give up right now. They say I know nothing, 'cause I'm so young now. But I feel somewhere inside I'm gonna make it. So I'm gonna keep on moving on. It's gonna be alright.
and it will be better than just fine. We're gonna reach the stars and believe much higher. I say it's gonna be alright, and it will be better than just fine. You watch this space, I'm telling you, a champion's in town. Thank you.